Hello, and welcome to today's vodcast. My name is Camryn Harrison, and we'll be learning and exploring the most important laws of history and media, technology, in the United States. The Communication Act of 1934. This law created the foundation for how Americans receive information through radio, television, and later, as we know it, the internet. We'll look at what the law says, why it was passed, the landmarks, how it affects us today, and most importantly, how it's evolved in today's world. I believe that has a big impression on a lot of things, and I encourage everyone to have a seat and listen to fun facts of the day about the law. The Communication Act of 1934 was passed by Congress and signed into law by President Franklin D. Roosevelt. It replaced the outdated Radio Act of 1927 and created a new federal agency, the Federal Communications Commission, FCC. The purpose of the act was to regulate telephone, telegraph, and radio communications across the state and national borders. The law stated that all Americans should have access to communication services and they should be offered reasonable cost. The most famous part of the act is to communicate to everyone without discrimination. That's race, color, religion, national origin, all of those things, sex, male, female, whatever it may be. They were not obligated to discriminate against anybody. A key case that tested the limits of the Communications Act was Red Line Broadcasting Co. versus FCC 1969. In the case, the FCC used the fairness doctrine of policy based on the 1934 Act to require broadcasters present controversial issues in fair and balanced ways. Red Line Broadcasting argued that this rule violated their First Amendment rights. However, the Supreme Court did end up siding with FCC. This case is very important because it reinforced the idea that public communication, especially over the airwaves. The Communication Act of 1934 was visionary, but it also did have its limits as well. It worked well for its time when radio and telephone were the main forms of communication, but as technology changed TV in the 1950s, then we went on to cable in the 1980s, and then as we know it, the internet in the 1990s. Many parts became updated in 1934 Act. It set the stage for government involvement in making sure communication is fair, accessible, and public best interest. In conclusion, the Communications Act of 1934 was a major step in shaping the way Americans use technology today. To stay informed and connected with each and every person, it created the FCC. It gave government a role in regulating its airways and led to court cases like Red Line versus FCC, which did clarify First Amendment rights that apply to the public broadcasting. Access fairness, it did for everybody, access fairness to everybody. And public services is still a big part of our communication system today, as I feel like we see it on social media, you see it on the internet, on Google, podcasts, vodcast, movies, books, whatever it may be. We still, to this day, a big part of the communication system today is through all of those things, is through social media. And I do feel like that has a big part in how the world plays out today, is communication. The Communications Act of 1934, to me, was one of the major issues, and probably the best issue, and that's why I chose to speak on it today. Be sure to subscribe for more history and civics podcasts, and I thank y'all all for watching. Until next time, keep asking a bunch of questions and stay curious. Thank you.